Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So today I ended up going to the library because several of you have left me comments asking me to read from different books. And I really appreciate the comments. I have no problem, reading from whatever you want me to. I know that there are copyright laws um, about like what you can read or how much of something you can read, but I'm not really sure how that works yet. Um, but I really have no problem reading whatever you guys want me to read. And I promise that I will do my best to find the books that you guys have requested. Some of the books that I went to the library today to get, they were checked out. They weren't available, but I will try again. So I promise, if I don't get to your book, if I don't get to your book soon, I will eventually. I won't stop trying until I find it. With that being said, though, one of the books that someone suggested that I read from is called Tea with Miss Stockport. Tea with Miss Stockport. And it is by Martin Seymour Smith. And it is it's very thin. It's pretty old too. It's from 1963, and I've never heard of this book or read anything from it. It is a collection of 24 different poems, and I thought today we could read at least 10 of them. And so let's just jump into it. Alright, I really like this book cover. It's so thin. It's made of very old material. It's very simple design. Alright. He came to visit me. He came to visit me, my mortal messenger. I saw the sorrow stamped upon his face. He bade me chide at him for grief. But, sir, I said, you know your dominating place. That's it, he said to me. You spin the thread of life in me. You make me flesh and blood. Although we both wish now that I were dead, this sorrow on my face is but a hood. Behind there is a blank white wall of skin, an eyeless, mouthless, noseless face. Neutrality. It is a dark death that lives behind the thin, pale flesh. You have my eyes I cannot see. So death it was he knew behind the sheet of skin, darkness behind its passive light, and all around him while he spoke, there beat the endless drummers of the subtracting night. Birds in his head. Her violent birds in his head he wished, and to find that secret at full moon went. To a swamp's center where sweating, he stood in his boat and howled, take me at last for your misery's sake. And her answer thus hundreds drowned. That moment in the distant sea, innocent they leapt from the shelving decks. Now his pain only their wing beats, in his head and guilt at all such deaths. Questions on the staircase. How will you destroy me, love? Tonight, you stop me on the stair. With ghost signal of despair, why do I hesitate? Oh, where could I cast off the habit of love? Is he your messenger of loss? Who in the mirror by my side stands silently? Are you his bride? Am I moon cursed to be denied, to live within this mirror loss? How will you love a ghost, against whose cold you have complained, when I to confront you remained? Had you already entertained familiarly that ghost? Thus imprisoned and alone, his actions I must intimidate. Although he watches me in hate, I am a ghost and dumb to state. My killing features are his own. The shape of love. He sought to define the shape of her love. Horizons clear-cut, lines extended. Her landscapes he had explored. His gaze forever limned them, but the stage outlines of her will deluded his mere following eyes, until certainty distressed him with suspicion. Whose woman is she? Follow me behind, then speechless. While I trace those never-altering heights, stand on that very skyline, with young yourself alone, that none other shall with me view its beauty. But he could not know the contours when walking there, and she was speechless. Pride said, "You will not ask," and he called, "Back to your own land. I will find the shape alone, for in other lover's hand, whom I will kill the map lies." Tinged with blood of many heroes and proud lovers, his lance denied. All promises dripped red on every face or map of hope, until he had been the whole earth over and returned to her land lost. She slept, and then he saw the sunset on familiar hills warming his cold heart. What have I destroyed, love, what? But she, waking, was speechless. Dark swallowed the hills, while her eyes said, "Forever now, we must in virtue lie apart." These poems are kind of dramatic. I like them. This next one is called The Pool. Love is a dead image, treeless pool changing, with only the weather I dream by your side. You speak over the still depth. In winter's soulness, words have not spoken of exile, and grief moves the water. Its leafless banks in summer are a refuge place, where bodies desire by the past are weathered to seem like love. In different seasons light, I circle it, or in hope sleep, move idly my hand in the not changing deep. Watch the movement I make, become still as I wake. The lights on the water. The drowned know the sea is wounded, in fame only, when those lights slash across the stillness of the port. Within its honored depths they taste the salts of after action's quiet. The victims. The bells ring signal of judgment at last. Of immediate burning we are among the milling crowd to see the sins past, and hear each whisper, "What has he done wrong?" Why are we here at all? Who knows the best? It is because we also have no wealth, because like him we have no purpose left. Who stands at all stands where he stood himself. It is our own bells swinging, will not spare our tender hearts the congregation. Looks at God on the steeple supreme up there, pointing them home after long conflagration. But we are crushed by them, elbowed and spurned, who know each is the priest, the burner, and the burned. The punishment. Of all men living, who could be the most wise? insists that women may put out men's eyes, yet is himself protected from this band on love without obedience. He can inform the world that he's contented now, in a serene potency, and broadcast how he lives happy in a woman's grip, ignorant he holds the hand that holds the whip, whose punishment therefore produce routine reports no more in love's official news. Has cold theory caught his rebel up at last? Are his days of fruitfulness all past? Now he guides her by whom he says he's led, or though he's not yet blinded, sacrificed or dead. May not she, in fact, have sprung this last surprise? Oh, sorry, I didn't know it kept going. Already used her cruelty not to his subsist, to cut him down just a little down to size, by simply closing up, not putting out his eyes. Yet he's so restless on his tranquil wreck. How harsh are we, so wish such torments back, as once more his whole frame wrench and crack. The Macbeth type who has an evil seed avoids the sadness of life's sentence or the rope, his social end both censored and your pleasure need, by dying in self-sacrifice on some sheer slope. Abandoning his natural but strong-minded hope, he thrusts himself in front of a child and wife, falls victim to a gun that never missed, like you when plunging into a normal life. Drilled full of holes by your psychiatrist, your unfired gun clenched threatening in your fist. And he who killed you without caring, the simpler villain truth dies drunk and swearing. But we'll come back next week and yet more daring. What schoolmasters say. What schoolmasters say is not always wrong. You're a good chap, Schmiggers, but don't go seed. Said Pettit in bath time at long ago. He seemed so earnest that I nearly cried. But up until now I laughed at his warning of where disregard of his words might lead, until last night when I dreamed I had died and Pettit was God. Hank made us lay out our beds like soldiers. After cert, he summoned me scowling. Vile boy, I see you've mucked it again. Of course I didn't care then. I was proud, and resigned from the corps against his advice, but heard Hank's voice with its military sting, as today I strolled through the playground crowd. Well, Smith, you failed. I pity myself that now I'm a puppet, like Hank and Pettit in the roaring gumbo. That I must answer when asked by my friends, if you take your pupils aside and say, vile boys, this won't do, disobedience is wrong, and if you don't really know, it'll make you know. Do you really mean that those boys should obey? I'm yea in a way. They are singing this mournful before me. How wonderful must thy sight be, and if their croaking cannot quiet mean God, nor can it quiet mean me. I ask myself what should it mean? Their heads inclined I bow, my own until a colleague warns, hey, old boy, head up and watch for talking. We're not expected to pray. Alright, this is going to be my last one. It's called The Change. I held you close, oh warm you lay, where dank familiar peeling walls proclaimed an end of warmth and day. Here, love, no gleam or daylight calls, I said. You answered with a sigh. I'm afraid of such nightfalls, oh do not let me die. But die, I said, for death is night. You are alone, these walls are steep. You cannot climb from here to light. Therefore give me your fear to keep. You do not love, but you spoke gently, so near you were to sleep. Comfort me, and I'll die. My pleading now turns to despair. The basement walls grow thin, recede, until we inhabit empty air. How shall I follow where you lead? For you have wings I cannot fly. I drop to earth, but for your need. Oh, Do Not Let Me Die. Alright, I think I read, there's 24 poems. I think I read 10 or 11. I lost count. But I really like these poems. I really do. And from, being from so long ago, being written so long ago, I don't know, I think they're very fun. And I don't know if I'll finish reading this book. There are, about 10 or 11 more. But that's all that I wanted to read for today. If you have any book suggestions or reading material you'd like to hear me say, you can leave that in the comments. And for those of you who have already left me suggestions, I promise I will do my best to try to get to those. I really like how the pages feel too. Alright, that's going to be the end for this video. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful night, everyone.